You've read the books, maybe all the books, and you've tried the systems, you've bought the planner that promised to change your life, and 3 months later it ends up on your desk collecting dust. You've tried blocking your calendar. You color-coded the blocks. You've hired the coach. You've watched a YouTube video. Videos at 2 times speed because you didn't even have time to consume the productivity content telling you how to manage your time better. And here you are, likely still exhausted. So if that's hitting for you, please stay with me. I want to tell you why none of it worked. And it's not because you're lazy. It's not because you didn't try hard enough. It's actually the exact opposite. You tried way too hard. Wait, trying too hard is the problem? Here's what I see happen with almost every business owner who comes to me burned out. They try to fix exhaustion the same way they got exhausted. They take the same operating system that produced the burnout and they install one more app on top of it. One more habit, one more morning routine. Well, we love the morning routines from all these influencers, yeah. One more time blocking method. They wake up earlier. They try to delegate one more thing. Everything, optimization across the board, yet nothing changes. Or maybe it changes for a little bit, 9 days, right? And then they slip back into the grind, that same grind that they were trying to escape. This is an operating system of belief problem. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Back in 2010, I had what I called my magic formula. And here's how it worked. I'd get up at 5 a.m. and crank out tax returns until 9 a.m. And then from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., I'd do client meetings, the sales calls, networking. Then from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., I go back to doing the tax returns and all the tax work that I'm getting paid to do. That was basically 3 work days every 24 hours, which is about 20 work days a week. Now, hustle culture calls this time manipulation, and I called it winning. The wild part is that by every productivity metric, it was working. The checks were hitting the bank, revenue was up. I felt like I was crushing it. I had it all figured out. What a magic system. Grind harder, and it all works out. Boy, thanks, hustle culture. Where would my life be without you? I want you to notice something. I didn't have a delegation problem at that point. I didn't have a focus problem. I didn't have a system problem. My problem was belief. I genuinely believed that the more hours I worked, the more successful I'd be. And hustle culture had sold that to me, and I bought it hard. So when I started feeling exhausted, what did I do? Well, I optimized. I found a better tax software. I built a better intake process. I created systems for my systems. Every single fix I installed was an attempt to squeeze more output out of the same broken belief. Real quick, if you like this stuff, I do write about it on Substack every week, the patterns that keep business owners stuck and what it actually takes to break them. The link is in the description below. Here's what finally cracked for me. I realized I had built my entire identity around being the person who could grind harder than anyone else. Every productivity hack I installed was just protecting that identity. The hack wasn't supposed to free me. The hack was supposed to let me grind more efficiently. And that's why nothing was working. The tactics were aimed at letting me stay in the grind for just a little bit longer. You're probably doing the same thing. And I'd like you to be honest with yourself for just a second. When you bought that last productivity book, was the hope that it would help you do less? Or was the hope that it would help you do more in the same number of hours? And look, I get the appeal. I wrote a book that lets you do more by working less. And it is life-changing. But those whose life it changes, it's because they recognize the change in belief that's needed that has to happen. For example, all the stuff in my book works. It is going to help you get more done in the same amount of time. But you have to want it to work. And the whole industry of productivity advice is built on the assumption that the answer is always to do more. Be better, go faster, keep things tighter. All those are fine, but none of that questions the operating system. All of it just reinforces it. Real freedom requires a different operating system entirely. One that's going to measure impact instead of effort. One that treats recovery as fuel instead of that maybe that reward that you give yourself every once in a while for working hard. It's one that asks what got built today instead of what got done today. One where rest is what makes the work actually work. And that's what the 3.3 rule is. That's what my book, Take Breaks, Work Better, is about. It's not a productivity hack. It's a different way of running yourself. You work in focused blocks up to 3 hours. And when you work hard. And then take a recovery break of about 30% of that time. A complete unplug from work. And then you get back to work. And when you do, you're going to realize the work gets better because the recovery makes it better. When I switched to this belief system and the 3.3 rule, my firm grew 492%. And during tax season, my team averaged 42 hours a week. While the industry standard, if you're not familiar, it's 55 hours minimum. That's just keep your job. I was home for dinner. My kids actually knew me again. We took real family trips, like the actual kind where you're unchecked from laptop, not where I'm trying to pretend to be present. And all of that was possible because I changed the underlying operating system of belief. What do you actually do this week? 2 things. First, I want you to audit what you're measuring. Look at last week. What did you feel proud of? Was it how busy you were or what got built? If your sense of accomplishment is tied to hours logged or the number of tasks completed, you're running on the old operating system. Task completed doesn't necessarily mean impact. So try that out for a week. At the end of each day, I'd like you to write down one thing that got built that day. Built means it produces value tomorrow without you having to do it again. The shift in how you feel, it's probably going to surprise you in a good way. Second, take a real break. Your brain actually requires it. And I'm not talking about a phone scrolling. I'm not talking about lunch at your desk. A real break in the middle of the work week. Walk outside, sit outside, call your spouse, and watch what happens after that being unchecked when you come back to work. And you're going to discover that this new belief system is actually going to help you out a lot. You're going to find out that also that is going to help you start breaking that old belief system, help you understanding that breaks actually will fuel better results. You started your business for freedom, time freedom, money freedom, mental freedom. Hustle culture sold you a version of success where you trade all 3 of those freedoms for what? Ego, words of affirmation from people who frankly will never actually affirm you. You don't have to keep paying that price. The reason nothing has fixed your exhaustion is that you've been trying to outwork it and you can't. The way out isn't through more grind. It's through a different operating system entirely. I do write about this every week on Substack, the belief patterns that trap business owners, the systems that actually work, what it looks like to build something different. The link is in the description below. If you got something out of this, I just ask that you subscribe to my Substack. Let's hang out over there. And remember, if you take breaks, you'll work better.